Hiya Dave, great to meet up with you at the range and do some further work on your game. Just a quick recap on the key points we covered. Sorry about the delay, as I said I've been away with Judy and the kids this week. So I'll try and retrace my steps as best I can. Apologies if I ever miss one or two items that we covered during the session. I think the first thing to point out is the work we did on the range this session was relating to you drawing the ball more. One of the two of the things we see, particularly from down the line and through the ball as this review progresses, is really good in regards to hitting a cut, and that's what you were struggling, well, not what you were struggling with, but what you started to do a little bit too much. Obviously going back some, retracing your steps back to the mid part of the season, you were maybe trapped underneath it a little bit too much, getting the pushes and the overdraws. The pieces that you've worked on to balance that out have now become very ingrained into your swing, and they're manifesting themselves in a stop shot that's a sort of inline cut and at times an inability to draw the golf ball. So not all bad. One of the two of the things that we're talking about here may not, ideally fit the model as such, but they do relate more to you hitting a draw, and that's what we're trying to get in this session, getting you drawing the ball more. First of all, when we look at it from face on, the thing I wasn't really overly keen on was we're getting this side bend to the left at P1 rather than a slight side bend to the right. So the change we suggested, and here down on the bottom left, you're overdoing this change a little bit, but at least we're getting in there. We're just sliding the hips forward at P1 so that the upper centre is still in the middle of the stance, but the lower centre is out in front. So we've got a little bit of side bend to the right at setup. Whereas here we've got the hip centres over the ball and the upper centre is out in front. So the upper centre is in the wrong position at that point. So let's get rid of a few of those lines. So just pushing the hips towards the target, maybe a couple of inches at P1 would help tidy this setup. You can see there with Charlie Wee, he's just got the hip centres slightly in front of the golf ball and the upper centre just over the centre of his stance, creating a side bend to the right of maybe 7.5 degrees max at that point. So from there, let's take a little look at what was going on with the backswing. The thing that I wasn't too keen on in relation to hitting a cut, in relation to hitting a draw, should I say, was that initially the club went back very straight. So it was a straight line takeaway, but then excessive straightening of the right leg. So that right leg is straightening up quickly to assist in getting the hands in more at P3. So if the right leg was going to straighten at the correct rate, and remember it should incrementally straighten from P1 to P4, you can see there it's basically locked out at P2. If that didn't happen, there wouldn't be enough inward on the way back, and the takeaway and the arm swing will be too steep. So straight back with excessive straightening of the right leg to get the hands in. So the hands are in, but it's almost like a little bit of a cheat. We've done it, but we've not done it the ideal way. So straightening the right leg a little bit too quick to make up for the poor takeaway. At the top, we get a little bit over plane for my liking, and then we come down, the hands stay a little bit too much above plane. A lot of rotation, not really a great deal of hip slide going on. Maybe a touch of you moving back as well and open, extending, fighting really to get this club on the inside, but never really winning the battle. And we can see there's a lot of rotation on the way through, quite a low exit, and we're hitting a lot of pulls and inline cuts. If we look at it from face on, what was happening? Touch of a move off the golf ball as you start. Having said that, the upper centre was too far forward, so as it moves off, we then create this nice centred position at the top. So you can see the centre of the shoulder turn over the middle of the stance where we want it ideally, but we've moved off the ball slightly to achieve that. So there's a slight drift off the golf ball into that centre position. From there, the left knee gets out in front of the left ankle at P5, but then starts to straighten very quickly, P5 to P7, rather than keeping that flex in there. So P5, we've got the left ankle going out in front. What we're going to see with Charlie here is we're going to see the hips move forward longer and more aggressively, P4 to P5. That's creating some lag in the wrist. You can see here that you're uncocking the wrist a little bit too early, something else that you've been guilty of in the past. Charlie's got more weight in that left side. Your left knee's going forward, but you don't look to me at this stage that there's a massive increase in weight. Now as Charlie continues to go forward, that left knee's maintaining its flex, so we've still got the weight favouring that left side. P6 nice and tight with yourself. We've already started to straighten and extend. Angles are now getting dumped. We explain the reasons why that happens earlier in your session. Low point occurring behind the ball. You can see here now Charlie's still got that left knee with a little bit of flex in it, and then extends it more through impact. And there's a subtle difference there between driver and irons at P7. We'd see the driver with the leg a little bit straighter, bringing the hips out the forward tilt, shallowing the angle of attack and allowing the hips to continue the rotation. In your instance, looking at this impact position from down the line, we're a little bit open with the hips anyway, so we certainly don't need any assistance in rotating out the way of it. If anything, we want to feel that left knee stays flexed for a little bit longer. If we look at the differences when we've moved the hips forward a touch, left knee gets out in front, still starts to brace a little bit early. P6 is a touch tighter. Low point occurs a little bit more in line with the golf ball, but still a little bit excessive, straightening the left knee, resulting in excessive rotation of the hips on the way through. What we've got here from down the line is more of an inside takeaway. So the key thought here was to take the hands and arms in to the max up to P3. You can see we're setting deeper at P3. Hands are slightly more in at 5. We've now got the hips forward and the arms coming in more, creating a more inward approach at 6. And we're then continuing to hit out at it, as can be seen by the slightly higher exit through the body. So a few things to go on there, and obviously David talked about this is about you drawing the golf ball. If we want to fade the golf ball, there's a lot of good stuff going on here on the centre footage and on the top left hand footage. You've not got a problem with that left leg bracing quickly and the hips turning through it a lot. If we're trying to cut the golf ball, if we're trying to draw the golf ball consistently, we want to get those hips forward further for longer, like we see with Charlie from the top. We want to see that weight increasing into that left knee, increasing into that left side. A good idea would be to watch the DVDs, watch the force plate diagrams that come up, and watch how the force and pressure increases into that left side throughout the downswing. At P7, there's a lot of weight in that left side before the left leg straightens and the player starts to extend. So key thoughts: arms in makes for a much better rate of straightening of the right leg. You've got the hips forward at P1, not too much, just an inch forward, creating a slight side bend to the right. And then from the top of the swing, from P4, to P6. Let's get that weight increasing into that left side. Tightening the radius. Continuing to hit out at the golf ball for longer. Good luck with it. I look forward to watching your progression through the winter months, and I'm sure the coming season in 2013 is going to be an absolute cracker like we've had this year. Well done, mate. Speak to you soon.